welcome to the Cosplay Stitch and Seam. I'm Vfire.
And I'm David.
Pannon is out for this episode, but we will have her back for next one. So let's dive into this.
It feels weird without just even that like slight chuckle that she has of like, you know, even we've gotten through all of our names and she just kind of has this like, you know.
I know, I'm like, it's missing.
Yeah, we miss you already, Bannon. Come back. We hope you feel better.
Don't be sick no more. Sicknesses suck.
Preach. I think we all kind of like agreed on that back in 2020 or so.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not good at transitioning like Pannon is, so...
If you want to tell us your favorite sickness, because you got up and you got down with the sickness, where do they go, Mercedes?
Sickness? Who has favorite sicknesses?
I'm sure that there is some chemist or biologist out there that's like, yes, this one. I like this one. I was obsessed with smallpox for a while because I did a 6th grade report on it, and I was obsessed with learning everything that I could about it because that was the first time I'd heard of the term epidemic or pandemic. It was very, very fascinating stuff.
I had scarlet fever 3 times.
I've had scarlet fever once as well.
That was not once.
How do you get scarlet fever 3 separate times?
Apparently my body's like, ooh, strep throat? Nah. So my body tried to kill me a couple times. Although I did actually get strep throat later. Oh, and I will take scarlet fever over that any day. It doesn't 100%. Hurt.
You just have a fever and your body breaks out ever so slightly.
Yeah. It's like, oh, cool. Just go to the doctor, take the pills or a shot. I got a shot once. It's good.
Oh, I was just told to kind of get through it. You know, just like, you'll be fine.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I had to take special pills. And, like, I wasn't contagious after day 1, but my school wouldn't let me come back to school anyways. And, like, I think the second time I got it, they gave me special shots in my butt. I remember I hated that. Yeah, I was like a kid for all this, so, yeah, no. And then it was just special pills ever since, so...
Well, if you have ever had scarlet fever...
We are distracted!
Where can they go to tell us about their situation? We need Pannon back so bad.
We do. We're going to get weird messages. And it's going to be like, what is this?
If this is your first time to cosplay Stitch and Seam, because every episode could be somebody's first episode, this is about normal, honestly. This is kind of what you would expect.
We will talk about cosplay, I promise.
Yeah, we totally will. But where do they go to tell us about these things, Mercedes?
They go to the email cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com or to our website cosplaystitchandseam.com, and they can fill out the contact forms, or...
Go to the Facebook page! We have a fantastic community of people who want to see what you are working on as well, so share. We have our Work in Progress Wednesdays, we've got our Finished Fridays, we've got our Throwback Thursdays, and we've got any other day of the week that you just want to share. If you're not a big fan of Facebook, we totally get it. We do have a Discord server, and we have really great conversations. They don't go by so fast that, like, if you miss one day, you'll never know what's happening. It is a really chill group. I love popping in there every now and again and chatting. Dr. Steggy shared a picture of their cat, and I said, "Hey, please send my tell your cat that I love them." And Dr. Steggy reported back, "I got a flop and a chirp, so I guess the feeling is mutual, and I will take it. With a cat, I'll take it." While you're on the internet, if you want to help out the show, there are many different ways that you can do that. Share the podcast with a friend is the cheapest and easiest way. The second easiest way is leave a review. Leave us a rating, a review on any podcast app that lets you. That really helps the algorithm kind of just highlight our podcast. And of course, we do have Patreon. If you want to help keep the lights on, keep the hosting fees and the websites and all that fun stuff, we have patreon.com/cosplay stitch. For $3 a month, you get a shout out on the show every single episode. And for $5 a month, you can join our
Cosplay Chronicles.
I hired Keith David for that bit. And then I said, no, it's too good. Knowing Keith David, he'd probably totally do it. Hey, Goliath, come here. Just say Cosplay Chronicles for me.
Done. Booyah.
We play D&D, and it's all cosplay themed, and it's an absolutely wonderful time. I never know what's going to happen next. I am the DM. Vfire and Pannon are two of our players, as well as Jazzy and Dustin, and they are absolutely so good at playing against each other and with each other. It is a great time every single time.
My favorite moment right now is you taking the map of the dance floor that you had so meticulously put together and flipping it over to draw the scaffolding.
Yes,
because we didn't stay on the floor.
I like to think that as a DM, like my philosophy is I will make a problem, but I will not make a solution. Because if I make a solution, then my mind is rigid against that solution, and you have to get that solution. So I try and be like, okay, there are many ways to solve this. So I try not to like plan for every situation and just kind of you gotta be ready, right? Like you've DM'd stuff before, right, Vfire?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, like you gotta like be prepared to not be prepared, and you guys are a lesson in that. Of like, here is a magical circle of death. You got to stop it somehow. You could do all of these different things. I am not gonna say no to anything. I am a firm believer in yes and, very rarely yes but.
I had a ladder, so I went up.
All right, Link, calm down. What are we talking about today, Vfire?
We're doing a catch-up episode, check-in, hang out, kind of a casual episode for new listeners. This is just one where we kind of chill for a minute and talk about like things that have happened in the past month or so. What are our plans coming up if we have plans? I'm just kind of winging it right now.
Yeah, is there any cons coming up in the next little while?
I'm going to Animation Expo.
The heck is Animation Expo?
It's a thing in Salt Lake apparently, and I'm super excited for it, and I'm going for my work.
Oh.
I will have one day off next week. But I'm excited for it. It's
really popping off on this one, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm actually super excited for it because like my boss and I were like signing up for shifts for this. We're like, we thrive off of this stuff. I'm like, yeah, we do.
I went to your office the other day for podcasting purposes, and one, it was not in the location that I thought it would be at all. Not to out your location of work, but one of those things of like, this is not. I don't remember it being this nice over here. And then also at the same time, like. It was a dope building. Like I walked in there, and I've worked with the donor family before, and their sense of taste and whatnot is not that. And that was just refreshing. It was very refreshing to walk in there like this is pretty cool.
I need to give you a tour of the whole space because it's so awesome. Like I freaking love my job.
If that's the like just the atmosphere, I don't blame you. It seems pretty dope.
It's excellent. I've got two cosplay classes coming up that I'm teaching. Plus, like I've been teaching animation, video game design, digital and practical effects. There's a studio down the road that has one of those like big fancy high def screens for using for backgrounds in film.
Oh.
And they said that if I figure out how to use it, I can have my students come and use it to like display their work on. And I was like, oh shoot. I've officially on a work meeting notes, like official work meeting notes, it says that I geeked.
That's cute.
I love
That's super cute.
Yeah.
Are you working on any cosplays right now outside of work stuff?
I'm trying to think of one. I had a friend invite me to do a photo shoot with horses.
Uh-huh.
So I geeked over that too.
What?
I know, right? But I don't really like fit my old cosplays right now, so I'm trying to decide what I'm gonna wear. If I'm just gonna do like a really cool like original character and just like It's for a thing where like this photographer group like rents the horses and then they just practice photography. So I'm just like, what fun thing could I wear? Like one of the example pictures was like this really cool Viking-esque character, and I'm like, oh, that would be really fun.
I've got an oversized pitchfork if you want to borrow that.
Why?
for my
How?
barbarian cosplay for my kiosk character.
Yeah.
It's
That's
huge.
right.
It weighs 8 pounds, and it just doesn't make any sense when you hold it up next to me, let alone any human being.
I thought you had an actual pitchfork, and I was like,
No.
why?
No. Farmer John wouldn't let me keep it, so. I have been getting back into 3D printing.
Heck yes.
And ask me what I'm 3D printing.
What are you 3D printing? I want to know.
I'm printing lightsabers.
Boo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they gonna be ones that like you flick it and it?
No, since I have a resin printer, that's the more weaker of the two.
Gotcha.
I did try and print out one of those ones that like you print them in place and then you flick it and the blade extends. That is not what happened.
I love how I described it just in sound effects.
You did. But I knew I had the spirit of it, Vfire. I knew exactly what you were talking about. No, so I started following this person. I think it's like MM Shop or something like along those lines. I'll find the name in a second. But I was like so enthralled by their way that they were printing stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, I printed this all in a resin printer," and I was like, oh, "I have a resin printer that I'm not using. I'll use that.
Do the thing."
Yeah. So I bought some like patterns. And they're like kit bash kind of style, so that you just print out the pieces and then you put it all together. I printed them out. I've printed a Balin's skull from Ahsoka. He's the bad guy. I mean, the bad Jedi kind of vibe. Dave Filoni writes ambiguous evil characters. And then I printed Cal Kestis's lightsaber as well.
Sweet.
From Jedi Fallen Order. That's the one. Yeah.
Awesome. I like characters that are a practice in gray rather than being black and white, evil, good, and evil.
Man, I have so many vibes about that like topic alone of like what is that morally gray character? And I'm
like, you can have evil characters. But also they're a lot more rarer than like the moral ambiguous where you're like, but this.
Yeah.
And it can go either way with that but.
I think one of my best examples is Kilgore from Black Panther 1. Just this one character who, when he makes his point out loud, you kind of sit there and you think, you know what? Actually, right? Like I just finished reading East of West, and you see this like evil plan and their machinations, and then finally, like when the good guy interacts with the evil plan, he kind of goes, "Hang on a minute, they've got something here," and you're like, "Wait, what? What do you mean they've got something here? This is the thing we've been fighting against for the last 38 chapters, and we've only got 45 chapters in the whole thing. What's gonna happen?" And yeah, that idea of just like having a character who does bad things but for good reasons or good reasons to them, chef's kiss. You want to know a character that I think honestly encapsulates that chaotic good energy?
What character?
Hawkeye Pierce from MASH. Think about it. This guy breaks into his commanding officer's house, steals paperwork, forges that paperwork, and you're like, "Oh man, this is bad. That's not good." And then you find out he stole all that paperwork to donate thousands of dollars to a convent down the road in Korea to help save children. And you're like, "Oh, he's doing bad things for good reasons and whatnot." And so like you have just like that perfectly chaotic good character. I think if you're doing a chaotic good, you do Hawkeye.
There's this webtoon that I've been reading called Forever After. And if you haven't read it, it's great. They replace like all the swear words with like just fairy tale words. Like they're always like, "Oh, wish." And folk that. Like it's great. Like, there's even one part where they're like, well, what happens if we make ourselves naked? And there's nothing. And they're like, what
Like
happened?
Barbie dolls.
Yep. It's like it's these characters that get like pulled into the world of fantasy, like all the fantasy worlds, their stories and books that they have to complete and close the stories and things like that. And there's this fun like storyline in the back, like that goes from the background and into the foreground of like, what does it mean to have control over your own story? And like it plays the whole like the villain tries to get the hero to be on their side kind of thing. And just chef's kiss, excellent moment when the villain realizes the hero is on their side. Just taking a healthier route to the solution.
Oh, I love this.
It was such a good moment. Oh my gosh. Like, oh, yeah. And I try to keep that vague because it's still running and it's getting close to completing. But like, I that moment was just such a good one for me. Forever After, for anyone who wants to read that, it takes all gender norms, throws them out the window as well.
Love to hear it.
Dorothy from Wizard of Oz is a girl? Nah, they're making him a little boy.
Oh yeah.
You think that oh shoot, I'm trying to remember. See, now my brain's like panicking. But like they just take and just turn all the different like classic fairy tale characters and just do all the relationships.
You think Aladdin's going to be a street rat? Ha ha! He's a street weasel.
Beautiful, yes.
I got it. You know, I'm picking up what the cool kids are doing these days.
It's just absolutely excellent, and just like what it means for your story is just it's so good,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else are you reading / watching / media consuming?
I saw Dune 2.
I just saw it last night. What did you think?
Oh, I loved it so much. So my texts to my siblings before I saw the movie were were, guys, I think we got tickets to one of those weird theaters where they shake the whole room. I don't know if I'm gonna like this. To afterwards being like, this movie was made for that.
I did Godzilla -1 in that kind of environment, and oh boy, it's so good when you do that. Oh, I loved every minute of it.
I was like, I'm not gonna like this. I'm gonna be overstimulated. Like, it's gonna just distract. No, it added so much. It made the worms feel bigger. It was so good. And well, I love the changes that they made to the film as well.
In comparison to the actual book.
Yes. Did you ever read the book?
I read the first one, but it's also been like almost 20 years since I've read the book, so
I'm terrible at real world politics, but give me space politics. I was and am still obsessed with Dune's politics. I read the crap out of that book. I still have my copy from like high school. Absolutely love it. And I purposefully did not reread the book before seeing the movie because I wanted to see if it would capture my emotions and feelings that I had from when I was reading it, what I do remember. And it definitely has. It's captured the themes and things that stuck out to me. And it took things like, and I apologize if people disagree with this, it's totally fine. You can disagree with me, but you can still like the podcast. But Paul in the books is boring.
Ooh, that's a good take. Okay. I'm not disagreeing. Go on.
Yeah, Paul is not interesting. He's just, there was only one thing that stood out to me, and it's a spoiler that comes with the next book anyways. It's not even from Dune. Like, I loved Duke Leto. He had this whole thing about like how he was such a benevolent leader and being kind. He had a personality. Paul had no personality to me. He never stood out, but I loved everything else in the book. I loved the plot, the politics being played out, the interwoven what the heck is going on. And so I really appreciate that the movies pulled from the second book. So they pull from Dune Messiah and pulled that into this film a little bit of like his emotions and him struggling with trying not to create a holy war,
Yeah.
but
But his
also coming
mother
to
the entire time is like,
terms.
no, but holy war. Have you
Yeah,
considered holy war? Your homework
consider holy
today
war.
is starting a holy war.
Yep, and him being like, I don't think so, but realizing that like that may be the only path forward for him.
Hmm.
Like it sucks, and it's such a good take on the character, showing that he is this very good practice in grays. He's not a good guy, he's not a bad guy, he's somewhere in that middle, just trying to figure things out, and I loved that. I loved that very much. I also loved what they did to change Shani. Um, I liked I liked a lot of different things. I don't want to spoil stuff for people who haven't seen it. So just go see it, and maybe later I'll do a breakdown on what I really loved about it.
I mean, we have a whole section in our Discord server just for movies. So if
This is
you want
right.
to tag Vfire, she is in there every now and again, and they will happily sit there and tell you like, no, 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 no. Paul is actually the bad guy. I think Paul is the bad guy in the first book. I know what happens in the other books, but I think in this first book, I think he's the bad guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's just my theory. Dune theory.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I really liked also the changes. I loved seeing the kind of the change of archetypes, because
Mhm.
even in the books, I don't feel like Chani had a lot to do other than be the woman that he's actually in love with.
Yeah.
And even at the end of that one, I was just kind of like, this is kind of gross. Like, I don't know. But in the end of this movie, with what happens with her character, I was like, yes, this is an appropriate reaction to this, I feel. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. The D-box seats, or whatever they may be called, are hard to get used to, but they're also really nice because then you can also control how intense your movement is.
So mine wasn't in a D-box seat. It was the
Oh.
theater itself. So
Oh.
the whole theater would just shake. It was a RTX theater, I
Okay.
think, at
Okay.
Regal Theater. One of those. Um I think that's part of why it wasn't so like overwhelming to me, but if I do try a D-box one, I'm definitely going to be playing with those controls to make sure it's to my liking.
Definitely.
Um But no, I just like the whole room. It's like just like a really good bass, but without hurting
Mm.
your ears.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I was super impressed.
Good. I'm
Um,
glad.
yeah, like I got there before they started like even the previews, like
Mm-hmm.
where you're waiting and they're like, "Here's a game show thing."
Yeah. I'm Maria
Um,
Menounos, this random person who has a YouTube channel.
so they I was like in there before that, so it was all dark, and then they like started the first one and it was too loud. They like
Ugh.
vibrated the whole place, and I was like, oh, that must have been just like a test run or something.
This is
because
as loud as it's gonna get.
because it was fine afterwards, but I was definitely like texting my siblings being like, what in the world? I don't know if I'm gonna like this.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
Yay.
I mean, my response afterwards had lots of very good cuss words in it, going how much I loved it.
I think my one word review is majestic. I think
Yes.
it feels like something that there is a majesty about it all.
The cinematography, the how they just like created how immense everything felt, from not just like the spaceships and the objects, but to the gravity of the situations.
Mhm. Yeah, like the gravity of it all. Ooh, man, we could probably do like a whole spoiler talk episode
Oh,
about Dune.
and I love how they filmed the Harkonnen planet.
Oh,
Oh,
their fireworks alone
I
just
know.
inspire me. Those the design
Fireworks in
of their
quotes. It's like, what is that?
yeah, it's like a water ripple in the sky. Oh, what on earth? Yeah,
Yeah.
legitimately so good.
It's like, whoever came up with that, like, pat yourself on the back. Not that they're listening to this podcast, but dang.
Denis, buddy, Villeneuve, we know you're a longtime fan. You did a great job. the people that you chose and hired and went out and sourced, you did a fantastic job. Good job, Denny. Denny V.
No, yeah, I could go on forever about that. But I should probably not. We should probably talk about more other things on here.
Yeah. What else do we got? I finished all of Golden Kamuy. I highly recommend it
Ooh.
if, with a huge asterisk, you are A, an adult, and B, you have a very twisted sense of humor. Ashley in our Discord chat, we talked about it for a little while, and they said that season 4 dropped off for them a little bit. I could see why season 4 would drop off for some people, but it was just more of the weird humor that that Golden Kamuy has. But I also started Freerun and Solo Leveling. Do you know about either of those shows?
No.
So Freerun is, let's take your classic D&D party, and they've done the quest, and they're kind of like, all right, we're done. That was 10 years of our lives. So now what? And the elf of the party goes, well, I've got other spells that I want to go learn, so I'll come back and hang out with you guys later. And when she comes back, it's been like 50 years, and all of her friends are either human or dwarves, and they're getting old, and she's not. So she's like, oh, I didn't know these people. 10 years was not enough. I need to learn more about humans and the history that I am more or less a part of. So it's this very beautifully paced and absolutely lovely storytelling of knowing people and learning about people and maybe not even being good about it. And Solo Leveling is, think the early concept of what was that isekai anime where everyone got stuck in a video game? Sword Art.
Oh yeah.
So think Sword Art, but instead of you jump into a video game, portals opened up all over the world and that allow fantasy creatures into our world. And at the same time that happened, a bunch of people were like, oh, wait, I actually have magic powers now. So they go into those portals to stop bad guys or evil creatures from coming out and trying to attack us, because our modern weapons do nothing against them. And it's very violent. It's very gory, and it's very, very twisted. But I'm like 2 episodes in. I'm enjoying it. I enjoy the concept so far. I think it's well animated. The last thing that I watched the studio do was Licorice Recoil, which was about cafe baristas being assassins, and that was adorable, and it was cute, and it was lovely, and I had a great time with that one.
Say that one again.
So it's called Licorice Recoil. And essentially, it's a assassin's academy, and they daylight as baristas of a little tea shop. And some episodes are them trying to stop this evil person trying to manipulate the government and everything along those lines. To, hey, what if we try this new recipe at the shop? What's that going to do for our numbers?
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's like a tight 20 episodes, I think. I highly recommend it. It's super cute. Costume designs are great. Action sequences, because again, they're assassins, so they have guns and grenades and stuff like that. They're more like John Wick style assassins. And the action scenes are really, really dope and really well animated, fluid to a T.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I finally watched, and I'm disappointed that I did not watch this sooner, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, what did you think of Everything Everywhere All at Once with Michelle Yeoh?
I loved it.
Isn't it good?
Oh my gosh. I'm so disappointed that I did not watch it sooner.
What held you back, do you think?
Just time. I just didn't have time to go see it, and I was like, I knew I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I just something else would get in the way, or just never had time.
Did you
and
cry
now
at
I've
the
seen
rocks?
it. Oh my gosh, the rocks.
The rocks get me every time. I've seen that movie like 3 times now, and it just like it no pun intended, it rocks me to my core.
The rock part, I'm like, man, there's some moments where I'm like, I just want to be a rock. in a place where there's no one else, man.
Just to get away from it all.
Yeah. No, there's just like so much in that movie that's so smart, clever. I loved the dad so much and his method for fighting, and it just is heartwarming and validating, and
Yeah.
seeing her love for her daughter and just coming to understand things properly. Like, it's so good. It's so good.
No, it's absolutely like just very again, very adult, very mature humor. There were when I went and saw it, Kaylin and I went and saw it together in the theater, and there were some like 14-year-olds, and I think the movie's rated R. So I was kind of surprised they did not have an adult. And at one point during the long hallway fight scene in the beginning of the movie, when they first meet Judabaki, I think is her name, and she pulls out weapons from nowhere. If you remember the weapons that I'm talking about. I laughed so hard, but this poor child next to me was like, you guys, it's not that funny. My dad's gonna be so mad.
It's like, you should have come to this movie. It's rated R for a reason.
Even now I think about it and just be like, those kids these days.
No, I also laughed at that part. That was like, especially once I realized what she was holding, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. 10 out of 10. Would recommend that movie again.
Yeah. I want to watch it again just to catch all the little details and stuff. Like, there's just so much, and it was incredible. That was a fun ride.
Yeah, a ride is a really great way of describing it. I'm almost done with Baldur's Gate 3.
I'm still in Act 1.
I started the new Final Fantasy game as well.
Jealous.
It's pretty. I think I like this more than Remake. I think I like Rebirth a little bit more. Trying to think. I also started this new Metroidvania because you know me. I am a addict for a good Metroidvania.
Those are good.
I started one called The Last Faith. And it's Metroidvania, so think Castlevania with Bloodborne aesthetic and monster design. So very creepy creatures in a London-esque atmosphere. Absolutely very, very challenging. I probably spent like 3 days on a boss, and I was I was just like so like amazed with myself, like, yeah, I did it. And I looked up like some helpful guides and whatnot, like maybe I'm doing it wrong, maybe I need to try defending at this point or something. And most people are like, no, go do this other thing before you get here. And I was like, no, you don't know what you're talking about, people who've played the game. You don't know anything about me. I'm gonna do this on my own. And I did.
Do
It was very hard, but I did it.
Did it.
Yeah.
I'm almost done with Tunic.
How is Tunic? That's the one that like it builds the manual as you play, right? And like
yeah.
you don't. Yeah. How is that?
Yeah, I hate it. I love all the like the puzzle. Well, okay, how do I put this? I love all of the puzzles except for the ones dealing with the Golden Cross.
Okay.
I just find it so frustrating that there is no audio or visual cue that I'm pushing the right buttons.
Yeah, I could see why that would be frustrating. Totally.
It drives me absolutely bonkers. And like in one of the secret doors, it's like, you already have this sword, and I was like, why the frick did I do this?
Wait, when did I get the secret sword?
It's like, apparently I already have this sword. What the heck?
Yeah.
But like, other than that, I really do love the game. I love that there's like all these little secrets that you can find, and it feels really rewarding when you do find them. And using the pages of the book that you can just go through and like translate it. Like, I got the like special collector's edition one because it was like $45, and I'm like, this is still less than a normal game, so I'm just gonna get the collector's edition.
Smart. Love it.
From Fangamer, if anyone is interested. And it actually comes with the manual all printed out, but it doesn't have the little drawings in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you could technically look through it, but it does have a disclaimer at the beginning where it's like, don't do that. So I didn't. But I thought it was clever that they, like, even if you did flip through it, you wouldn't get the extra hints.
Yeah.
And it's just like just such a fun game. It definitely like goes back to like Legend of Zelda and like Dark Souls in a way. With all the puzzles and level design and even into the story a bit. I'm actually right at the final battle. But I'm collecting a few things because I want to get a certain ending.
Yeah. No, I get that. When I've been playing The Last Faith, I got an upgrade, and when that upgrade happened, a huge banner came across the screen, and it says, "Promise broken," and I was like,
Oh,
"What promise?
shoot.
What did I do? What's wrong? What?
Oh no!
Who did I upset? I don't know what's happened." And then I got another power up, and I was like, "Promise broken," and I was like, "No, not again! What have I done?"
And whose promise am I breaking?
Exactly. And it's definitely very Souls-like in its storytelling of like being ambiguous, and a lot of it is in the environment. And I'm sitting there like, I don't want to look anything up because I'm having a good time with it. So I don't want to like, because I did that with Blasphemous, and Blasphemous was very fun, but it was very easy, so I didn't feel rewarded when I was playing it. But this game, ooh, buddy, ooh, I've spent some good hours trying to figure out bosses and whatnot, and it's great. Trying to think of anything else. Yeah, I'll definitely post the lightsabers on the work in progress eventually when I feel like there's a good photo that I can take, because it's all just black stuff right now, right? Like all the pieces are black. I just primered it in black, so it's gonna take a little bit of time.
Oh, one of my costume classes also includes clothing design.
Ooh.
So I've been trying to design like day wear versions of cosplays. So I might post at least my design sketches for feedback. Maybe I should do that.
That's not a bad idea.
So far, I only have one where I'm like, I started it out going, maybe I'll make this into like a fandom based thing, and then it just turned into, nah, this is just me if I was like a witchy boho person. And that's what it became. But I'm hoping to post kind of like some of those for like different people as well, as examples for my students. And then I actually want to make some of them because that'd be freaking awesome, and just wear them every day and be like, I designed this. It's a me. I'm wearing me, which is nerdy AF.
Yeah.
If anyone knows me.
No, I don't know anything about you and your nerdiness at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Tell me, how many times again have you played through Shadow of the Colossus? I got Kaylin to start playing that, by the way.
Oh, what does Kaylin think? Tell me.
Doesn't like it.
No! Give it time.
They're on the final Colossus, so...
Oh, dang, okay, maybe not give it time then.
I think the controls is not, in like... Because it's very PS2 controls, and even in the remaster, they didn't tighten the controls that well. And so driving the horse is like one of Kaylin's least favorite things, and... There are...
Oh yeah, because it's driving the horse it's not when you turn it turns, or push forward it pushes forward. It rides like an actual horse. You press a button to nudge it and the horse starts moving forward, and then you pull the reins side to side and the horse will choose to go that direction.
Yeah. Oh, that honestly, we should get Dr. Steggy on. Hi, Dr. Steggy. We should get them on and talk about like realism of horse stuff, like what's it like?
Horse mechanics.
Yeah, horse mechanics in real life versus video games. Which one has the most accurate horse mechanics?
I'm right now feeling Shadow of the Colossus, because you literally have to trust that horse, and that's why I cried. That is why I cried.
Yeah. They have not gotten to that sequence yet. Okay. They are at the bridge, okay? They are at the bridge.
Are they doing what I did, where they try to find a different way around the bridge so they didn't have to take the horse across? Because I did that for like an hour.
They just haven't gone back to it. I think once we finish Baldur's, I think I might be able to convince them to go back to it.
Okay,
Because
okay.
Z is like, no, it's not fun. It's boring. I was like, you're on the last Colossus. You're literally, this is the last one. An hour and a half tops. I know.
Fun is boring.
I know.
It hurts me.
I know. It hurts me too.
It's okay. It's okay. It doesn't have to be everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. You're
Silently
absolutely right.
judging, but also
100%. 100%. I had them play Knights of the Old Republic, the original, like it was ported to the Switch.
Oh yeah, the OG.
Yeah, from the Xbox and PC, and that game came out in 2003, so I'm feeling okay to spoil that one. The twist, they predicted the twist of you were the Sith Lord this entire time, and I was like, what do you mean you saw that coming? What do you mean that's a lazy twist? 2003 me was amazed by this.
Oh.
Yeah, I was very disappointed in that one, and I had to remember, like, no, it like 20 years ago, because this game came out 20 years ago. That
Stop
was
aging
an
us.
amazing and unique twist.
All right. Yeah. Do we want to do?
Do we want to do
Horror stories? Spooky, spooky, spooky. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have.
Oh, you've got one from the email?
I have one from the email.
So make sure that you send that to cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com, or you can send it to our Discord server. Go for it.
All right. This is from Joey. There we go. Back in February, so I'm not too far behind. You see that with at least with the stories. So Joey says, in 2018, I joined the masquerade for WonderCon. I dressed as Nero from Devil May Cry 4. It was my first time competing, and for those who aren't familiar with the character, he has a glowing demonic arm. I had about 80 LED lights all throughout the arm. Holy crap.
That's got to be hot.
Dang. Okay, I tested it multiple times before heading to the convention. No problems. I set it up with the audio and lighting peeps so that I'd come out with no lights on, but my arm would be lit up, showing people the arm before the overhead lights drown out the lights on the arm. I go to turn it on backstage, and it didn't turn on.
Oh, no.
I was panicking, not knowing what to do. I heard my music start playing. I just had to go out there without the lights. Like they say, the show must go on. Went home and found out I had accidentally put too much wires on the arm and caused it to break off because there was too much slack and it must have caught on something.
No.
Not to mention I had created a cold solder and that would have caused issues later anyways. As Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus said, at first you don't succeed, find out why.
What on earth is a cold solder? Now I have to look this up.
I feel like I used to know that. It's been a while since I've done any soldering.
Is a defect caused by improper melting of solder to bond PCB electronic components together. Okay. All right.
I'm like, I can visually see it.
It basically is just like an improper connection, and because it's it doesn't have that consistency of most like solder joints, that can cause issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah. So I'm glad
terrifying.
It didn't do like anything like catch on fire or something like that. But also, that is so sad, especially when you've like got everything all set up.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the quote. You know, at first you don't succeed, find out why, and I love that.
Yeah.
Keeping it positive, keeping it moving forward, looking forward to hopefully they do it again. Like, hey Joey, keep it up. No, that's awesome. I mean, not awesome, but awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like we're excited that like the outpoint like was we got to figure out why and understand it. And like now we've learned from those mistakes. Yeah, no, like thank you for sharing that. That is a fantastic horror story.
Yeah. Well,
I think
we
that's
wrap
it.
up now, don't we? Yeah. So if you want to send in your stories, right? That's how we do this.
Yeah. Yeah, you got
it. You can email us at cosplaystitchandseam.com or cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com, or go to the website cosplaystitchandseam.com and fill out the contact form there, or
go to the Facebook page and let us know your horror stories there. We would love to see what you guys are working on. We would love to hear about it. If you're not a big fan of the Facey books, we totally understand. We do have a whole channel dedicated just to horror stories on our Discord. You can find the link on our website. And while you're on the internet, if you wish to help out the show, we would greatly appreciate that. And the many different ways that you can do that are by sharing the podcast with a friend. Just like, you know what, these guys, they've got a great vibe. They're great to like craft to and work with while I work on my own things. And I'd love to share it with a friend. So that's always helpful. That's always really great to hear. Leave a review or a rating wherever your podcast app lets you. And of course, we do have a Patreon, and some of the amazing patrons that we need to thank are Misty Lee, Jack S, Cynthia Eve Cosplay, Star Fetcher, Tim Yoke, Troft Cause, Lydia, Yggdrasil, Dr. Steggy, Cynics, Hot Riku, Jazzy Kofed, Jaguar Quinn, Gloria Shu, and Silver Deeds.
Excellent.
That's it. That's all we got.
All right.
Who do we need to thank for doing the amazing
music.
things?
Thank you, Macy Roberts, for the music. You're awesome. And to David for his excellent editing skills and also, ADHDing with me today. How's your stuff going?
They are going so good. Last Voice Season 3, we're about in the middle of it all. So now's a really great time to catch up, so that way you can join us all on the weekly ride to get to the finale of this season. For those of you who have been listening, I would love to hear your thoughts in the Last Voice channel on our server. It'd be really, really cool to hear what you guys are saying. And then also Comic Trades Monthly. If you enjoy comic books, we just released an episode for East of West, which was a very long read. We read all 45 issues in a month, and oh boy, was that something else. I'm honestly, after I watched Dune 2, I made a lot of comparisons between the two, just narratively speaking. Really, really good.
Ooh.
Highly recommend it. So yeah, go check out Comic Trades Monthly and go check out The Last Voice.
Excellent.
I have a long joke for you. That's kind of a pun, but not quite. I don't know if I said this on the podcast before.
We can still do it.
Okay. So a horse walks into a bar. And the bartender says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't you think you shouldn't be here? Because you're an alcoholic?" And the horse goes, "I don't think I am." And poof, the horse disappears. Now, you think the joke is kind of funny because of the French philosopher Descartes. Descartes is the philosopher who came up with the phrase, "I think, therefore I am," meaning the horse did not think, poof, it's gone. Now, some people would say you kind of have to know the context of the idea of Descartes and whatnot, but I would hate to put Descartes before the horse. It's my favorite joke. Okay? Let me have this. Okay, let's get out of here. Bye, guys.
Bye.
That
Stop
was
aging
an
us.
amazing and unique twist.
Whoa! Sorry, my door just knocked. Hang on one second.
Okay.
Sorry, David.
Boop, boop, doop. This is
For no
where...
reason.
For no reason whatsoever.
There's no one there.
There's no one at your door?
There's no one there.
Huh.
Nothing outside. That was weird.
This is how you know you're haunted.
Apparently. No, there's nothing. Now I'm like weirded out that someone just knocked on my door and left.
I'm hungry. I might get like Taco Bell after recording.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Sorry, what were we saying?